Good evening, everybody. Oh, look at that. That was perfect timing. Thank you very much. And on that note, I will turn it off. Good evening, everybody, on this very, very rainy, thundery, oh, thank you very much for the hearts. This very rainy, thundery evening in Vienna. If it gets any more sticky in this room, hola, hi Saman. If it gets any more sticky in this room, because I tell you it's like a sauna in my living room right now. If it gets any more sticky, I'm going to open the windows again. I just thought maybe it might get too noisy. And oh look, Georgie's come to say hello. Say hello, Georgie, and then go away. Oh, you can't see him because he's right by my side here. There you go. Hi, boo-boo. Hi. Sorry, I'm just having to give him a little stroke. You can't see him because he's black against my black skirt. So there's nothing, but he's come in to say hello. Let's see. Say hello, Georgie. Georgie, say hello. Say hello, boo-boo. You happy? Are you? Good. That was Georgie, everybody. Come to say hello. Now he's going to want lots of attention. Huh? Aren't you, boo-boo? You have to go away now so that I can read to all these lovely people around the world. Oh, I have to show you this. Look. I have to read to all these nice people all around the world, boo-boo. Off you pop now. Go on. Go away. Go away, Georgie. Shoot. 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 Go away now. Go away now. Good boy. That's it. Good boy. So let me reorganize my camera after that beautiful interruption from my very lovely, very, very gorgeous dog. Let me see if you can see the candles, because the candles are always so pretty, aren't they? Right, there we go. Oh, and it's even turned the sound up as well, which is a lot better. Good evening, everybody, on this very rainy and thundery night, as I already said. If it gets any hotter in here, I will open the windows. I was just a little bit worried that the thunder might end up being a little bit too loud and disturb us. It is beautiful, however. It's a beautiful evening. It's so warm outside in Vienna, and the rain is just that perfect rain, right? So anyway, without further ado, we are now on the 65th night, and try and say that one when you're drunk. I hope that's right. It is right in Saman, isn't it? The 65th night. And I'm going to read a few nights for you this evening, because actually some of them are really short. In fact, one, the very final one, is only 10 pages long. Let's see how we go. And if my eyes don't get too tired, because I've kind of got it dark and moody, because I always look better, then I shall read 4 nights in total. 3 to 4 nights. We'll see how we go. Anyway, now, when it was the 65th night. Yes, no, it says 65th night here, Saman, actually. I had a really hard time printing this out today as well, by the way. Just wanted to let you know it took me an hour. Anyway, never mind. Now, when it was the 65th night, Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Nuzhat al-Zaman continued thus. Said Omar, verily Allah commissioned as his apostle Muhammad, upon whom be the benediction of Allah and his salvation, for a blessing to some and a bane to others. And he elected for him those with him, and took him to himself, leaving the people a stream whereof they might drink. After him, Abu Bakr the truth-teller became caliph, and he left the river as it was, doing what was pleasing to Allah. Then arose Omar, and worked to work, and strove in holy war and strife, whereof none might do the like. But when Othman arose to the power, he diverted a streamlet from the stream, and Muawiyah, in his turn, diverted from it several streamlets. And without ceasing, in like manner, Yazid and the Banu Marwan, such as Abd al-Malik and Walid and Suleiman, drew away water from the stream. And the main course dried up, till rule devolved upon me, and now I am minded to restore the stream to its normal condition. When Fatima heard this, she said, I came wishing only to speak and confer with thee, but if this be thy word, I have nothing to say to thee. Then she returned to the Ommiades and said to them, Now take ye the consequence of your act when ye allied yourselves by marriage with the Omar bin al-Khattab. And it is also said that when Omar was about to die, he gathered his children round him, and Maslama bin Abd al-Malik said to him, O Prince of the Faithful, how wilt thou leave thy children paupers, and thou their protector? None can hinder thee in thy lifetime from giving them what will suffice them out of the treasury. And this, indeed, were better than leaving the good work to him who shall rule after thee. Omar looked at him with a look of wrath and wonder, and presently replied, O Maslama, I have defended them from this sin all the days of my life. And shall I make them miserable after my death? Of a truth, my sons are like other men, either obedient to the Almighty Allah, who will prosper them, or disobedient, and I will not help them in their disobedience. Know, O Maslama, that I was present even as thou, when such an one of the sons of Marwan was buried. And I fell asleep by him, and I saw him in a dream, given over to one of the punishments of Allah, to whom belong honor and glory. This terrified me and made me tremble, and I vowed to Allah that if ever I came to power, I would not do such deeds as the dead man had done. I have striven to fulfill this vow all the length of my life, and I hope to die in the mercy of my Lord. Quoth Maslama, a certain man died, and I was present at his burial. When all was over, I fell asleep, and I saw him as a sleeper seeth a dream, walking in a garden of flowing waters, clad in white clothes. He came up to me and said, O Maslama, it is for the like of this that rulers should rule. Many are the instances of this kind, and quoth one of the men of authority, I used to milk the ewes in the caliphate of Omar bin Abd al-Aziz, and one day I met a shepherd among whose sheep I saw a wolf or wolves. I thought them to be dogs, for I had never before seen wolves, so I asked, What dost thou with those dogs? They are not dogs, but wolves, answered the shepherd. Quoth I, Can wolves be sheep and not hurt them? Quoth he, When the head is whole, the body is whole. Omar bin Abd al-Aziz once preached from a pulpit of clay, and after praising and glorifying Allah Almighty, said 3 words as follows, O folk, make clean your inmost hearts, that your outward lives may be clean to your brethren, and abstain ye from the things of the world. Know that between us and Adam there is no one man alive among the dead. Dead are Abd al-Malik and those who forewent him, and Omar also shall die, and those who forewent him. Asked Maslama, O Commander of the Faithful, and we set a pillow behind thee, wilt thou lean on it a little while? But Omar answered, I fear lest it be a fault about my neck on resurrection day. Then he gasped with the death rattle and fell back in a faint, whereupon Fatima cried out, saying, Ho Maryam, Ho, Muzaham, ho, such a one, look to this man. And she began to pour water on him, weeping, till he revived from his swoon, and seeing her in tears, said to her, What causeth thee to weep, O Fatima? And she replied, O Commander of the Faithful, I see thee lying prostrate before us, and thought of thy prostration in death when Almighty Allah, of thy departure from the world, and of thy separation from us. This is what made me weep, answered he. Enough, O Fatima, for indeed thou exceedest. Then he would have risen, but fell down, and Fatima strained him to her and said, Thou art to me as my father and my mother, O Commander of the Faithful. We cannot speak to thee, all of us. Then quoth Nuzhat al-Zaman to her brother Shah Khan, and the four Qazis. Here endeth the second section of the first chapter. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. Now I am going to get up for a second, ladies and gentlemen, and make the light a little bit lighter. So I will be back with you in a minute to read the 66th night and say that one when you're drunk. Et voila, that's a bit better, isn't it? No, let me try one more time. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. That's much better, isn't it? Now I can also see my text, which is going to be a huge help. Right. All right, so everybody, welcome back. I hope you have all got a nice drink to keep you company for the evening. I certainly have. And now I shall carry on with, now when it was the 66th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Nuzhat al-Zaman said to her brother Shah Khan and the four Qazi, Here endeth the second section of the first chapter. And it so happened that Omar bin Abd al-Aziz wrote to the people of the festival at Mecca as follows, I call Allah to witness in the holy month, in the holy city, and on the day of the greater pilgrimage, that I am innocent of your oppression and of his wrongs that doth wrong you, and in that I have neither commanded this nor purposed it, neither hath any report of aught thereof hitherto reached me, nor have I compassed any knowledge thereof, and I trust that a cause for the pardon will be found in that none hath authority from me to oppress any man. For I shall assuredly be questioned concerning everyone oppressed. And if any of my officers swerve from the right and act otherwise than the holy book and the traditions of the apostle do authorize, obey him not so that he may return to the way of righteousness. He said also, Allah accept of him. I do not wish to be relieved from death, because it is the supreme thing for which the true believer is rewarded. Quoth one of the authority, I went to the Prince of the Faithful, Omar bin Abd al-Aziz, who was then Caliph, and saw before him 12 dirhams, which he ordered for deposit in the public treasury. So I said to him, O Commander of the Faithful, thou impoverishest thy children, and reducest them to beggary, having nothing whereon to live. And thou wouldst appoint somewhat by will to them, and to those who are poor of the people of thy house it were well. Draw near to me, answered he. So I drew near to him, and he said, Now, as for thy saying, thou beggarest thy children, provide for them and for the poor of thy household, it is without reason. For Allah of a truth will replace me to my children and to the poor of my house, and he will be their guardian. Verily, they are like other men. He who feareth Allah, right soon will Allah provide for him a happy issue, and he that is addicted to sins, I will not uphold him in his sin against Allah. Then he summoned his sons, who numbered 12, and when he beheld them, his eyes dropped tears, and presently he said to them, Your father is between two things. Either you will be well-to-do, or your parent will enter the fire, or you will be poor, and your parent will enter paradise. And your father's entry into paradise is liefer to him than that ye should be well-to-do. So arise and go. Allah be your helper, for to him I commit your affair. Khalid bin Safwan said to Yusuf bin Omar, Accompanied me to Hisham bin Abd al-Malik. And as I met him, he was coming forth with his kinsmen and attendants. He alighted, and a tent was pitched for him. When the people had taken their seats, I came up to the side of the carpet whereon he sat reclining, and looked at him, and waiting till my eyes met his eyes, bespoke him thus. May Allah fulfill his bounty to thee, O Commander of the Faithful. I have an admonition for thee, which hath come down to us from the history of the kings preceding thee. At this he sat up, whenas he had been reclining, and said to me, Bring what thou hast, O son of Safwan. Quoth I, O Commander of the Faithful, one of the kings before thee went forth in time before this thy time to this very country, and said to his companions, Saw ye ever any state like mine? And say me, hath such case been given to any man, even as it hath been given unto thee and unto the me? And now there was with him a man of those who survived to bear testimony to truth, upholders of the right, and wayfarers in its highway. And he said to him, O king, thou askest of a grave matter. Wilt thou give me leave to answer? Yes, replied the king. And the other said, Dost thou judge thy present state to be short-lasting or everlasting? It is temporary, replied the king. How then, rejoined the man, do I see thee exulting in that which thou wilt enjoy, but a little while whereof thou wilt be questioned for a long while, and for the rendering an account whereof thou shalt be as a pledge which is pawned? Quoth the king, Whither shall I flee, and what must I seek for me? That thou abide in thy kingship, replied the other, or else robe thee in rags, and apply thyself to obey Almighty Allah, thy Lord, until thine appointed hour. I will come to thee again at daybreak. Khalid bin Safwan further relates that the man knocked at the door at dawn, and behold, the king had put off his crown and resolved to become an anchorite for the stress of his exhortation. When Hisham bin Abd al-Malik heard this, he wept till his beard was wet, and, bidding his rich apparel be put off, shut himself up in his palace. Then the grandees and the dependents came to Khalid and said, "What is this thou hast done with the commander of the faithful? Thou hast troubled his pleasure and disturbed his life." Then quoth Nuzhat al-Zaman, addressing herself to Sharkan, "How many instances of admonition are there not in this chapter? Of a truth, I cannot report all appertaining to this head in a single sitting." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. And now, when it was the 67th night, Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Nuzhat al-Zaman continued speaking to Sharkan, 'Know, O king, that in this chapter be so many instances of admonition, that of a truth I cannot report all appertaining to this head in a single sitting, but, with length of days, O king of the age, all will be well.' Then said the Qazis, 'O king, of a truth, this damsel is the wonder of the world, and of our age the unique pearl. Never heard we her like in the length of time or in the length of our lives.' And they called down blessings on the king and went away. Then Sharkan turned to his attendants and said, 'Begin ye to prepare the marriage festival and make ready food of all kind.' So they forthright did his bidding as regards the viands, and he accompanied the wives of the emirs and wazirs and grandees, depart not until the time of the wedding banquet and of the unveiling of the bride. Hardly came the period of afternoon prayer when the tables were spread with whatso heart can desire or eye can delight in of roast meats and geese and fowls, and the subjects ate till they were satisfied. Moreover, Sharkan had seat for all the singing women of Damascus, and they were present, together with every slave girl of the king and of the notables who knew how to sing. And they went up to the palace in one body. When the evening came and darkness darkened, they lighted candles right and left, from the gate of the citadel to that of the palace, and the emirs and wazirs and grandees marched past before King Sharkan, whilst the singers and the tirewomen took the damsel to dress and adorn her, but found she needed no adornment. Meantime, King Sharkan went to the hammam, and coming out, sat down on his seat of estate, whilst they paraded the bride before him in 7 different dresses. After which they eased her of the weight of her raiment and ornaments, and gave such injunctions as are enjoined upon virgins on their wedding nights. Then Sharkan went in unto her, and took her maidenhead. And she at once conceived by him. And when she announced it, he rejoiced with exceeding joy, and commanded the servants to record the date of her conception. On the morrow he went forth, and seated himself on his throne. And the high officers came in to him and gave him joy. Then he called his private secretary and bade him write a letter to his father, King Omar bin al-Nu'man, saying that he had brought him a damsel who excels in learning and good breeding, and who is mistress of all kinds of knowledge. Moreover, he wrote, there is no help that I sent her to Baghdad to visit my brother Zau al-Makan and my sister Nuzat al-Zaman. I have set her free and married her, and she hath conceived by me. And he went on to praise her wit and salute his brother and sister, together with the Wazir Dandan and all the emirs. Then he sealed the letter and dispatched it to his father by a post courier who was absent a whole month, after which time he returned with the answer and presented it in the presence. Shah Khan read it as follows. After the usual Bismillah, this is from the afflicted, distracted man, from him who hath lost his children and home by bane and ban, King Omar bin al-Nu'man, to his son Shah Khan. Know that, since thy departure from me, the place is become contracted upon me, so that no longer I have power of patience, nor can I keep my secret, and the cause thereof is as follows. It chanced that when I went forth to hunt and course Zau al-Makan, sought my leave to the fair Hijaz wards, but I, fearing for him the shifts of fortune, forbade him therefrom until the next year or the year after. My absence while sporting and hunting endured for a whole month. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. And now we have the final night, the 68th night of tonight's reading. She said, it hath reached me, O auspicious king, that King Omar bin al-Nu'man wrote in his letter, my absence while sporting and hunting endured for a whole month, and when I returned I found that my brother and sister had taken somewhat of money and set out with a pilgrim caravan for the pilgrimage by stealth. When I knew this, the wide world narrowed on me. O my son, but I waited the return of the caravan, hoping that haply they would come back with it. Accordingly, when the palmers appeared, I asked concerning the twain, but they could give me no news of them. So I donned mourning for them, being heavy at heart, and in sleep I have no part, and I am drowned in the tears of my eyes. Then he wrote in verse, that pair in image quits me not one single hour, whom in my heart's most honourable place I keep. Son's hope of their return, I would not live 1 hour. Without my dreams of them, I ne'er would stretch me in sleep. The letter went on, and after the usual salutations to thee and thine, I command thee neglect no manner of seeking news of them, for indeed this is a shame to us. When Shah Khan read the letter, he felt grief for his father and joy for the loss of his brother and sister. Then he took the missive and went in with it to Nuzat al-Zaman, who knew not that he was her brother, nor he that she was his sister, albeit he often visited her both by night and by day, till the months were accomplished and she sat down on the stool of delivery. Allah made the childbirth easy to her, and she bore a daughter, whereupon she sent for Shah Khan, and seeing him she said to him, This is thy daughter, name her as thou wilt. Quoth he, It is usual to name children on the 7th day after birth. Then he bent over the child to kiss it, and he saw, hung about its neck, a jewel, which he knew at once for one of those which Princess Abrizar had brought from the land of the Greeks. Now, when he saw the jewel hanging from his babe's neck, he recognized it right well. His senses fled, and wrath seized on him. His eyes rolled in rage, and he looked at Nuzhat al-Zaman and said to her, Whence hast thou this jewel, O slave girl? When she heard this from Sharkan, she replied, I am thy lady, and the lady of all in thy palace. Art thou not ashamed to say to me, slave girl? I am a queen, daughter of King Omar bin al-Nu'man. Hearing this, he was seized with trembling and hung his head earthwards. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. So, ladies and gentlemen, hi Auntie Janet. My Auntie Janet is watching. That's very lovely. She's all the way in Italy, in Florence, so that's very special. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now, oh, I can't see the time. It's so dark on my computer. 22:19. That is absolutely perfect, Central European time. I would like to wish you all a very beautiful and wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are, all around the world. And I'm sorry, I can't, let me just double check what you're writing, because I can't really. What is the name of the book called? This is 1001 Arabian Nights. My name, by the way, is Joanna Godwin Seidl. I omitted to introduce myself at the beginning. I run a theatre company called Vienna Theatre Project, and I am a director, an actress and producer. And at the beginning of the lockdown in Austria due to the coronavirus, a colleague of mine, Saman Girard, and I decided that we wanted to start reading 1001 Arabian Nights publicly to everyone who is in lockdown, so that we would all have something to do in the evening. And although the lockdown has lifted very considerably in Austria, theatres have opened somewhat, but not completely. Most of them are opening again in September, but with very reduced audiences. We then decided last week that we were going to continue reading the 1001 Arabian Nights, and we were actually going to read all 1001 nights. We are now on night 58, as you heard this evening, 68, excuse me, as you heard this evening. And so we have a number of nights to go, but some of them are very short, so we will be reading more than one night on some nights. We worked out if we read one night every night, that we would be doing this for 4.5 years still. So with or without that, we still have a long way to go. I reckon it's going to be at least 3.5 years probably still of reading this every evening. So I hope that answers your question. Please tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow Saman is reading. What do we have today? Wednesday. I will be reading again on Friday. I look very much forward to reading for you. I wish you, as I said, a very pleasant morning, afternoon, evening, or if you're just about to go to bed, have a wonderful sleep with beautiful dreams. And I say God bless to you and many salams. Take care. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye. You're welcome. It was my absolute pleasure. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.